Parts Counter Gurus are celebrating their 100th show. By the way, did you know that Alexander Graham Bell made the first telephone call? And moments later, he learned his auto warranty had expired?
First of all, this is Cameron from Frontier Ford in Anacortes, Washington. Thank you guys for letting us step into your world today.
Our pleasure, our pleasure.
And given this guru his first test drive in an all-electric vehicle, and I had to go for the cream of the crop, didn't I?
You did. You went for the cream of the crop.
But let's talk about the misconception you were talking about with people saying, well, it's not a Mustang. I love what you said about that.
I mean, and they're right in the aspect of it's not a Mustang, and I can understand where they're coming from because they grew up in the era of Mustang is just raw power. It's what, the street racers would have, those old rat rod style racers, gear guys, they love that raw power and everything. But what this is that it's that crossover from that raw power to electric power.
Right.
And ironically, we were talking, it's actually a Mustang-inspired SUV to where you can have your family in the back and take a drive.
We are sitting here in the back seat right now.
Which you can't do comfortably in a Mustang.
Yeah, they have a back seat.
But
if you're a 3-year-old, it's great.
Yeah,
It's
but the best thing about this is it's that crossover. And yeah, it has that Mustang emblem on the front, but it's that emblem on the front because you have different modes in this vehicle. You got that like we were talking earlier, that whisper mode of, all right, I just want to seamless drive. It's calm and it's quiet. And then we can go into the engage. It's balanced, fun and engaging, where you're kind of like feeling that road a little bit. And then we go in here into that unbridled, which is what we're in right now. Exhilarating. And the machine aligns with the road as one. So you're just sitting there going, and you felt that power.
I did.
It kind of metaphorically snaps your head back, right?
Yeah.
It's
that instant torque.
Instant torque, and that's all this vehicle is. It's just 100% torque. You don't have to worry about that lay of the camshafts and all the gears, the pistons hitting just right. And you got to tune it. This is just 100% unadulterated electric power. And I think that's where Ford was going with it, was when they sat there and they said, hey, it's that Mustang inspired. Mustangs belong in the wild.
Right.
You don't brattle a Mustang. You got to let it go. So that's what this is what they're trying to do, is showing that a raw electric power is the way of the future.
It is an appropriate driving mode, unbridled, and if you're going to give it that name of what it actually is and how it compares to an actual gas or ice engine or ice version of a Mustang, that's what you have. And this is so cool. Now here's the thing, right now I'm at 18 miles an hour, and I just want to see something here, and you guys, what would you say? 4 seconds?
I mean, not even. Yeah. You were rolling when you started, but
I think from 0 to 60, I think it's right around 4.2 seconds. I'm not 100% sure on that calculation. It differs because you got different variations of the Mach E. You got your base unit, then you have your premium. They're even coming out with the GT Mach E.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't stir up trouble.
Want to race?
No.
Wouldn't it figure I'd be next to a Tesla?
Yeah.
On my first test drive in a Mustang Mach E.
She's.
How does the car drive for you?
For me, it's almost effortless.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here. We're gonna turn on the cruise control.
Okay.
We're gonna turn on the lane centering is on.
Okay.
And we're gonna set it. Now go ahead and take your hands off the wheel.
Yeah, this is a little. It's if you've never done this before.
Right now, the vehicle is driving for you. Now it's not doing that autonomous driving.
Right.
It's
centering the lane.
It's centering as one. And if we came up to a corner or something, it's gonna go with the road, and it's gonna let you know. Right. It doesn't have that programming just yet.
It didn't feel
Put your hands back on the steering wheel.
Right.
So that mode is kind of like, I need to get something. Not metaphorically reach down and grab something, or you're grabbing your cup again or something, your coffee cup, or your everything. And now since your hands are on there, it cancels itself out. But that lane centering is still what's keeping you going and allowing you to drive.
That's pretty amazing.
So here's the other thing. I mean, you tried it a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put that one pedal mode on. So that one pedal mode is on. The minute you take your foot off of that that gas pedal or that electric pedal, it's going to automatically stop. Oh, we got to turn cruise control off.
Oh, it's still on. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
You take your foot off, it's going to start to brake for you. Oh no, we turned it back on. There you go.
There it goes.
Oh yeah.
And you feel that it's automatically starting to brake.
And that right there, when you're
Make a right up here. We're going to go back behind the refinery a little bit so you can feel some different turns.
Okay.
Because we've been on some straight roads. I want you to see how the vehicle, and we're going to leave it in the unbridled. I want you to see how the vehicle kind of goes through curves and everything, and allows you to feel how it's going to handle. And you can tell me if it handles like a car, an electric car, because I know you've driven electric cars before, or if it handles like a true car.
I can tell you right away what I like about so far the handling of this thing, and I'm not even driving it yet, but how it feels in my hands and how it feels
like
on my rear
car.
end.
It's a real car.
It feels good.
It's not plasticky.
So if you remember, Keith, in our podcast that we had with Marlon, we talked to Marlon about how he was not a big fan of the EVs, right?
Yep.
And the reason
he specifically called out the one brand
that's right.
Isn't this brand,
Yes.
and said it feels cheap. But he was used to.
You guys get ready because I know
All right.
You're in whisper.
Oh,
You're not in unbridled. Oh, we'll go to unbridled. Here you go.
Let's go to unbridled, man.
Here you go. Here's the unbridled. And now you see how the screen changed?
Wow.
Dude, it went from
Okay, but this isn't a real Mustang.
okay,
You're
so
right. It's not a real Mustang. What it is that Mustang-inspired SUV, to where it's that crossover from raw power into that electric power, and it's showing you what that electric power can do. It's unbridled.
I completely
have been in GTs many times, have driven some of the Shelbys, and your acceleration is...
what I'm doing now, so this is the regenerative is going on as I'm bringing my foot back off the throttle.
Jay, have you ever driven a car with that much raw acceleration?
No. I mean, I've driven some fast cars, man, but I would lose it somewhere in the shift.
This is
You want to turn on the propulsion sound and see what that does?
Yes,
Yeah,
I was about
let's
to
do it.
ask about that.
Okay, I don't know. Let's see what we got.
Oh, listen to that.
It's like a jet engine going on.
I'm intentionally not getting the
So,
speedometer
I have a-
screen.
I have a question for
What's
you.
up, little man?
Does this car, it has the parking where it will
Parallel park for you?
parallel park for you.
Yeah. So
Does that work?
Yeah, it does. And what it does is it uses all the sensors. You got your front sensors, your rear sensors, all the sensors around. All you really have to do is put it, and it's going to tell you, put it in reverse. Go ahead and put the gas down, and it does all that. The only thing you got to do is use the gears and use your foot on the brake pedal.
So Jay, I'm going to tell you just from experience, when you get out of this and you go drive a regular 2-pedal automatic transmission, it's annoying.
Yeah,
you drive one of these for any amount of time, and you just get so lazy because of
Well, that's exactly what I was
convenience.
about to say.
Yeah.
I mean, watch how quickly when I remove my foot from the accelerator. Watch how quickly this thing gets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. And also,
braking.
it's letting you know that you're in the 1-pedal mode right here. See the?
I see
the
that.
Yeah.
indicator?
Oh, that's what that means.
Yep.
Okay, so it's
So
a
we
little
can turn
blue.
that off. No, right there
No,
on the
it's
left.
not.
You're ready.
See, left to ready right there.
All
See
All
it?
right.
So we turn that off, and now it's gone.
Uh-huh.
And I felt that, by the way. I felt that.
What is Lincoln going to do to compete with this?
Good question.
All right. I mean,
I honestly don't know.
how do you get a better, more... I mean, there's a few things you can do from a luxury perspective. And interesting...
Whoa.
and interesting that they chose to do it in the Ford line first instead of the Lincoln line.
Ford has always tried to, stay up with technology. They brought out a lot of hybrid vehicles. They got the Escape, the Explorer. They're coming out, and they got the F-150. They're coming out with the F-150 Lightning, which is the 100% all-electric truck. And they're coming out with the Transit E. It's an electric Transit. And the Maverick, the small body truck is going to have a hybrid motor in it also. So Ford is always trying to stay up into the technology and stay with what consumers want.
I bet you that there will be an all-electric version eventually of that Maverick. And Ford is very smart with their small transit. This way.
Oh no, go straight.
With the small transit, because
it's not the Connect, it's the bigger transits.
Oh, so it's even the bigger one.
It's the bigger
Wow.
ones, but I believe they're still going to make it the different wheelbases.
Okay.
And you're going to be able to. I know we were talking earlier when we were talking about charging ports and everything. The charging port is actually in the front of the vehicle. It's not at the rear end of the vehicle, to where some of those places that you talk like, hey, we can't back our vehicle in because it's against the state ordinances and stuff like that. Ford has thought ahead. Everybody can pull in. They don't say you can't pull into a spot.
Right.
So they put it up in the front. Same thing they did here on the Mach E, is they put it up there in the front because everybody pulls into a spot. It's easier to get into a spot nosing in than it is trying to back it in.
Yeah, makes sense. Finally, but the fleet vehicles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where Ford really makes their money on a lot of these fleet vehicles.
And they're making their money on a lot of those fleet vehicles because you got these fleets that are, what's the biggest thing that fleets look for? The biggest thing that fleet looks for is maintenance on the vehicles.
That's right.
One of the unique things about this vehicle is it doesn't have your standard oil changes that you need to have. They want you to drive it roughly about 10,000 miles and no more than a year before you bring it back in to get those tires rotated, make sure everything is still linking the way it's supposed to and greased up the way it's supposed to, because we don't have gears in there, but you still want to make sure those joints are doing what they're supposed to be doing and that are all lubed up.
So by comparison, I buy an Escape, not the hybrid, just the traditional like gasoline engine. Maintenance on that's what, like first couple times.
You're probably looking at, they might recommend 3,500 to say 70.
So you're
well, the technology nowadays, the new oils that are out there, they say every oil change should be anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000
Yeah,
miles.
with synthetics, right?
With the synthetics. This one, you can get a maintenance plan to where you pay for stuff up front, so you're just paying for it up front. For this vehicle, it's a lot cheaper than it is for the gasoline.
Your cost of maintenance.
Yeah, the cost of maintenance.
You're further in between visits.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that you also want to do is you want to make sure those battery connections and the terminals and everything are still looking good, because you're driving an electric vehicle. Your
It just told me I was out of the lane, by the way.
It did. Did it vibrate a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the safetiness. So you want to make sure everything's working right. I had a customer the other day call me and say, hey, how do I charge my car? And I was like, you plug it in. She goes, I did that. And I said, okay, so is everything seated right? She goes, yeah, everything's seated right. So bring it on down here. She was only 15 minutes away. She brought it in, and it, the plug that goes from the wall into the car, there was a little latch that was broken off, and it wouldn't allow the plug to seat properly. So the safety factors inside the vehicle would not allow it to charge, so it doesn't have that runaway to where it won't overcharge or anything like that, because it's not seated the way and allow the connection to sit properly.
Right.
So these are all things that you want to make sure happens. So you want to make sure everything's going on.
Yeah, I think that is a misconception, and you bring up a really good point, Cameron. Is that a lot of people think, well, once you get an electric vehicle, that you're not going to have specific maintenances. Yes, you won't have the oil change, that sort of stuff, but you still, as a vehicle owner, it's something you've invested into. You want to get it looked at periodically, just to make sure you're protecting your investment. And that's
you got your tire changes, and
that's it.
You still have shocks, you still have
brakes
and everything. So as we're driving these corners, now I know you're not driving it the way you normally would drive your own car, but when you going around these corners, how does that feel?
It feels great. I mean, to me, look, I drive a Mini Cooper S. That's a little go-kart.
It is.
Okay.
It's a little race car.
Yeah, and it's very low to the ground. It's very wide body. It's built to handle these quick and fast turns. Now, when you sit in that car, you get that feeling automatically. When I sat in this car, I got the same feeling. I feel tight around my body, it's ergonomically for me to drive this thing. I feel like it's ready to get out and race, that I could take it around tight turns. The steering is incredible, and I
How
know
do the
it's
seats feel for you?
fantastic.
I
These
love
are,
it.
I mean,
Yeah,
they're
these are-
so comfortable. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
This is kind of more Lincoln.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's
in
what I'm
terms
saying.
of
I think
the feel of it. Yeah.
honestly, for me, if Ford would take what they've done with this and say, hey, talk to Lincoln and say, go build one on your own, or put their whatever body they want on it, I think that they could get away with a nice luxury
Yep.
sport model.
Yeah.
They probably could.
It's to me, it's a no-brainer. You want to sell more EVs, that's how you do it, because I think you're going to attract a different crowd with a Lincoln version of something like this. I'd buy it, whether it's a Lincoln or a Ford. Still goes.
So
with
have
the
you
same
driven
rule.
other EV cars before?
This is it. This is
the first one.
This is the first.
So you went with the best first.
That's
huh?
what I'm saying. For me, I had to choose the top of the heap. Okay, guys, you caught it first right here. My very first ever drive in an electric vehicle, all electric vehicle. Was I impressed? Yeah, I was impressed. It just happened to be a Ford Mustang Mach E, and this thing was incredible. I'd like to say thank you to Cameron, the folks at Frontier Ford, Jared, General Manager Andre, for having us in today. We really appreciate it. You guys should come by and see them. They've got some great inventory here, so make sure you check that out. If somebody wants to buy one of these, what do they have to do, Cameron?
Best way if they want to buy it and build it the way they want is just come on in and see myself, Jared, or Andre. Stop in here, see us, build it exactly the way you want. If you want to try to see if you can get this one's going to be available in a couple more months. It's in our demo status. We always have vehicles coming in. You can also call 360-293-3105. Ask for Cameron, Jared, or Andre.
Our website is partscounterguru.com. You can check out our podcast there. Just click on the podcast links. You can also check this video out over at youtube.com, and that's youtube.com/partscountergurus. And make sure you click on the bell. And also, is that your sound effect? And also subscribe. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. What's your website?
www.frontierfordusa.com.
Thanks, everybody.